Welcome to the Bitchin' Siblings Podcast.
All right, welcome everybody to the Bitching Siblings Podcast. I'm Ginny.
Hey guys, it's Amy.
And Mama's had a tough week, so I have no topic in mind. We're just gonna do what our title says and just be some bitchin' siblings tonight.
I dig it. I've got some bitching to do. I've had a week myself, so how about you start? Tell us how your week went and why we're in a funk.
Just I don't know. I don't know. The week wasn't bad. It's just the weeks right now are getting busy. We have another so 2 of our 4 kids have graduated and gone off to college. Our third one is graduating this year and then going off to college in the fall. So, of course, we have graduation for him, but it's also graduation season. So we have, today I was cleaning and organizing my fridge. And by fridge, I mean not the inside, the outside of my fridge. Because I had to go through and take down all the old Christmas cards, old graduation announcements, wedding announcements from last year so that I could organize the ones that I have for this year so that I know when and so the left side of my fridge is all the graduation announcements and invites, and the right side of my fridge is all the wedding invites or save the dates. And and then on top of it, my husband, so his youngest graduates, and his graduation is going to be on one weekend. So we have to go to that, obviously. And then the next weekend, we're having his graduation party at our house because the weekend of his graduation, he'll be with his mom. But the week in between, so my stepson graduates on a Saturday. My husband leaves late Sunday or early Monday for Chicago. Will be gone in Chicago and comes back either late Wednesday or late Thursday. And by late, I mean they land at 10 o'clock at night and they still have a 2-hour drive home. Ew. And then the graduation party is that Friday night. So I have a lot of stuff I have to get done. And that last week between graduation ceremony and party is just me. So I'm trying to get all the big stuff done that I would need my husband for now.
Gotcha.
So that I can do the smaller stuff. But of course, he had to work this weekend. So there's only so much he could do.
Yeah. By the way, we got his graduation announcement, and I told Bill, I was like, yeah, we got the graduation announcement. And he's like, you realize we're not going. And I was like, obviously. Duh. And he's like, well, then what's the point of sending graduation announcements? And I was like, you send it to people that you send it to all of the family, whether or not they're coming or not. Right.
And I knew you guys weren't coming, but I didn't want to leave you guys out and not send one to you. I mean, I sent one to you last year for A and, Roger's oldest. And you get both of those, or did you only get A's?
I think we only got A's.
I might have only sent you A's because it was the same.
Yeah.
We did them at the same time.
Yeah.
Because they graduated, but they didn't graduate from the same school, but their party was at the same time.
Yeah.
So then I had to go to the store so I had food poisoning, obviously, last week. We discussed this. But I had to, so that kind of put me a week behind because I had kind of already started to plan to do things last week. So I still had to order the cake. I still had to make sure that we don't really need decorations, but we just need something.
I didn't actually pay attention to the announcement. I just looked at it and he's so handsome.
I know.
So I wasn't actually paying attention to anything. When do they graduate?
Well, his graduation ceremony is May 6th, but the graduation party that we're doing is going to be May 12th.
That's so close.
I know. His last day of school is April 30th.
Jesus.
I know.
My last day of high school was the 10th of June.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But they also go back. I mean, this year, Elle's last day of school is May 19th. But they also go back August 10th or 11th, I think. So, we get out a whole month early, but we also go back to school a whole month early to what we're used to.
I don't know. So. I feel like my senior year, we started the last weekend in August. Because I was going to the high school for a couple weeks before the college started. And I was taking running start, so. And we still didn't get out till the 10th of June because graduation was the 12th of June.
I mean, we were done with school, I think like the 8th or the 9th, but because our school is so large, we had to go to the Tacoma Dome to do ours. And since there's a lot of other schools around there that are very large too, your graduation ceremony, I think ours was at night, but maybe 2 hours prior to ours was another school. So
I remember
ours, by the
going
time
to
we were,
yours. I just
huh?
don't. I remember going to yours. I thought it was in the middle of the day.
It might have been.
I legit don't
No,
know.
yeah, it would have been because we went to dinner afterwards. So yeah, it would have been like 2,
That's
3-ish.
what I thought. Like
And it was like
apparently, the
yeah.
school that I went to, they no longer do it at PLU, which
Oh, really?
yeah, they outgrew PLU, so they now do it at
Mm,
the Puyallup Fairgrounds. I heard.
interesting.
Maybe it's dependent on the size of the graduating class.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is. I had a very large graduating class. We were just under 500. I think we were like 470 something, I think.
I have no clue how many people I graduated with. I just remember that like it was so packed at the PLU
Oh my God.
auditorium, and it was
Yeah, it
so
was
fucking
hot.
hot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there was like no air conditioning.
Oh no.
Because for those of you who are in the Midwest region,
Or in the
there's a
California
large
area.
majority of places on the coast, in the Pacific coast where we're from, that don't have air conditioning because it just doesn't really get that hot.
Yeah,
And that year it was really hot.
it was.
So I remember that the doors open, they had fans going. It was bad.
Yeah, it was pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just busy with graduation stuff, and then, work isn't necessarily busy, but there's always stuff to do. Like I said, my husband's going to be gone for a week doing stuff, and I just have a lot of stuff to do. So like today I woke up, and this is where you and I differ. And this is what I'm saying. Like, this is what I enjoy doing. Like, I woke up. I actually slept in today. Well, I didn't really sleep in. I had to get up early to take Elle to work. He had to be there at 7. So I came home and I laid back down, and I woke up like at 9:15. So I slept in, but didn't really sleep in. But then A goes to work at noon. My husband was at work. So like around noon, when it was just me, I put my headphones on and I like deep cleaned the house. Like I did the dishes, wiped down all the counters, like moved everything off the counter, scrubbed underneath it. And then our laundry room, you know our house.
Yeah.
So like the laundry room goes through the garage, and like there's a utility sink in there that has kind of become our catch-all for everything. And people are going to be coming in through the front door and the garage door. So I was like, I should probably clean that.
Yeah.
So I was doing that today, and then I vacuumed up dog hair, and then we have a kneader feeder for our dog because she drips water everywhere, and it just gets gross after a while. So I took that apart and I scrubbed it, and I just did all that today. And my husband came home and he was like, "Oh wow." Because I did like a lot of the deep cleaning stuff that you just don't normally do. I even went along because we have that white banister staircase, and I even went along with some Clorox wipes after I vacuumed it and wiped it down because it was like dirty.
Yeah. I've decided that when we do buy our place, if it comes with white cabinets, they are immediately getting painted or stained or something to a dark color, because we currently have white cabinets in our rental, and never again. Never fucking again.
I actually like the white.
I mean, it looks nice when it's clean, but like, one, it shows so much more dirt,
Mm-hmm.
and they get dirty so much faster.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
for sure.
and we have dogs on especially on the lower cabinets. Like if they walk
Mm-hmm.
up against it for some reason, right on their back, like where their back touches,
Mm-hmm.
it get like I can legitimately see a dirt line.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, and then
Kind of like where when people turn the lights on and off, and like the wall
Yeah.
around the light switch gets dingy and dirty.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
the stuff around the door.
The frame
Yes, that's the word. Thank you.
or the trim.
Yeah, so like when they come in and out of the bedroom door where their back lines up, that trim gets so fucking gross and dirty, and like never again. Never fucking again.
See, and we used to have like a light oak, and I would go dark, but I have noticed that I feel happier in my kitchen when it's brighter colors and lighter colors. So I did white because I spend quite a bit of time in there, and when it's dark, it's just kind of like, I don't know. I think it would depending on the lighting and like the
That's
direction
true.
in which your house, like how many windows you have. We don't have a ton of windows, and our kitchen faces to the east. So in the morning, it gets beautiful sunlight, but in the afternoon, it's all on the other side of the house. And so it gets dark and kind of dungy looking if it's not, some lighter colors.
See, and I figure if we do like dark cabinets, I can do light colored walls and
Yeah.
then maybe lighter colored countertops.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's
Yeah.
just me being me right now.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're going to buy a house, you want it to be what you want it
Well,
to
and
look
that's the
like.
thing though. Like it doesn't. It's really all going to depend because, like you said, if it's a more of an enclosed kitchen, I'm probably not going to want the dark because it's going to make it that much more depressing and like
Yep.
oppressive in there. But if it's like an open concept, which is what we're ideally wanting, I could see going dark cabinets and then, like I said, light walls and light accents to kind of offset it.
I get that.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. And especially like until we have a outdoor bathing facility for the dogs. It gets too messy in the bathroom. Otherwise the walls in the bathroom get like disgusting afterwards and they shake and yeah.
I have this really awesome tool that I got off of Amazon that comes with like 8 different like attachments on the end because our bathroom wall in ours gets like dusty in certain corners and like the dust is on the wall because the way our bathroom is kind of shaped, so like above the tub in that corner, it gets kind of dusty up in there because there's no air movement, whatever.
Okay.
And so I got this thing and like it can be wet, it can be dry or whatever. And I got like just a little bit wet, like damp, and I like wiped down all the walls. And it has like an attachment so you can reach up in the corners and it's like a triangle shape and it moves, it swivels and all this kind of stuff. It's so great.
How recently did you make this purchase?
In the last 6 months.
Okay. I'm going to need you to send me a link to this purchase because I feel like I need this. So please send me the link.
It's great. Oh my gosh, it's great because I've also noticed that when our boys shower, they don't always turn the fan on and then they shut the door right behind them when they're done showering. And so I've noticed that sometimes it looks like streaks are coming down the wall and it almost looks yellowy or orange. I don't know if it's just like condensation or whatever. And so I was like, I need to wash that, but I don't want to like scrub the walls because I want to take the paint off. I just need to like wipe it down with some warm water, really is all it. I literally just like, oh my God, you have to, it's awesome. And like the attachments are all like Velcro, so you can take them off and throw them in the washing machine.
Nice.
And wash them and reuse them. So I have one that I always use for dry stuff. And then I have a couple that I use for wet and like you can use it on the floor. I don't because obviously I have stuff on my floor, but I love that it's like a triangle shape and it like
it can
swivels
get into the corners.
So you can get into all the crevices. And then you know what else I used it for? I don't know about you, but like in our bathroom, like we have a baseboard and there's like a lip between like the baseboard and like the wall. Like it's almost like a and it gets dusty.
Yep.
Like this thing just slid right across, took it all off. It was great. It was wonderful. And it's really, really good for the inside of like your tub. You know how like you can't reach really high up to scrub all. I use it for that too.
Nice.
So I'll send you a link. It's
please
great. I love it. It's one of my favorite things I've ever gotten. And I found myself trying to find things to clean with it.
I love it. I have to admit that when I get things like that, I'm like that too.
Yes.
I do want to get one of those spin mops.
Okay, I had one. I did not like it. Maybe I just didn't know how to use it.
But why didn't you like it?
It didn't work. Like for me, like the spinny thingy, it didn't. I don't know something.
The spinny thing's only to take off excess moisture so that you're not like.
I know, but like
it
wouldn't spin. Like it wouldn't spin. Like I would put the stuff in it and like it would just go down once and it would just spin like half a circle and that's it. So I'd have to like, forever and a day. And I'm not trying to look like I'm jacking off a freaking mop. So,
well, maybe I'll have to try something else. Like I want something that's going to be easy to get excess moisture off. Because I don't know.
All right, I'm sending it to you right now.
Okay.
It is normally $35.99. It's 28% off for $25.99.
Okay. What's really funny is actually I have 4 things in my Amazon cart right now, and I haven't hit the order button yet. Not sure why. Probably because I didn't have my card with me at that moment, and I was like, I don't want to get up and walk across the room.
Right. I do that all the time where I'm like, oh, I'll just put it in there. And then every once in a while you get the email from Amazon. Did you forget something in your cart?
What's
And
funny
you're like,
is
oh, well, yes, I did.
what's funny is I have to actually hit order soon because 2 of the items are something Bill asked me to get.
Oh, so yeah, you need to get that.
Yeah, because so he's got this little pocket portable radio that he takes outside, and he just listens to the radio outside, and it died today.
Oh.
And he's had it for several years. Like his grandpa had it,
Oh.
and then when his grandpa passed away, like he got it, and so he's taken it everywhere. He took it like camping with us. He'd always take yeah. It finally died, so I found the exact same one.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
And it's super cheap. It was like $17.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, it literally.
Check the link. Check the link I sent you. It's so freaking awesome. It's totally worth it.
Oh. That's cool.
Right?
Yeah, I'm gonna need that. Oh,
right? And for $25, it's something, it comes with what? Like six attachments or whatever.
Yeah.
It's worth it. I use it all the time. Like I said, you can use it on the floor, you can use it on in the shower, you can use it on the walls. Like it's such it's one of those things where it's like, is it worth the money, or you know what I mean? For $25, first of all, that's cheap, I think.
Yeah.
Second of all, it has how many attachments? So it's got a million uses. And third, you'll never run out of things that, especially us being short. There's a lot of things. Like I have dusted the top of my cabinets with that because I can't reach
the ceiling above my shower. Like it's kind of gross.
Yes.
Like from the moisture buildup.
Yes.
And I can't clean it. And my husband apparently is blind.
Well, yeah, because they're men.
Yeah. So he doesn't see it. So
So you can just do it yourself with this thing. I am not kidding you when I because I have, again, 4 boys, so I have a lot of gross bathrooms. And this was like and like I said, I have a couple that I use for the wet stuff, but it doesn't really matter because you can just throw it in the washing machine and then dry it. And then, you know,
yeah.
So you can use it as a duster. The next thing I want to do with it, which I have not done yet, is use it to dust the top of my ceiling fan.
So I have like an extendable Swiffer for that.
I know, but my problem is getting the sides of the blade. The top of the blade's not hard, the bottom of the blade's not, but getting the sides of the blades, that's because the thing moves.
I see what you're saying. But for me, well, so here's the thing. My extendable Swiffer, I still have to stand on the bed to reach it.
Right.
So like I can hold it one side so it doesn't move while I'm dusting it.
Right. The ceiling fan, it always moves. It's too bad you can't put it in like a locking position to clean it. We should create this.
Dude.
Is a locking position for ceiling fans so that you can clean it and not have to worry about holding onto it and accidentally ripping it out of the wall or breaking a blade off or falling off of a step stool because you are holding onto the fan with one hand and trying to clean it with the other.
Okay, we got to copyright that idea. Like trademark
TM that nobody can take it.
Nobody can take that unless you're going to like invest in it and like help us make this and, you know, give us proceeds for it. Just saying.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what else?
Yes, definitely try that. So it's totally worth it.
Anything else going on in your life this week other than your crazy, you know, busyness? But that's like status quo for you.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything different. Is there? Is there supposed to be?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
My husband's birthday is tomorrow, so, you know, there's always
How old is he?
He'll be 42. He's Chris's age.
Oh, okay. So he's younger than Bill. Got it.
Yeah, he's only, he's May, June.
He was born in 1980.
81. 81.
No, because Chris was born in 80. Because you were born in...
No, Chris was born in 81.
You're right.
Because I was born in 82.
For some reason, I was thinking there was 2 years between you guys.
I was going to say, no, it was 81 because Chris is 81 and Chris was born 2 months later. So him and Chris are only like 2 months apart.
Yeah. My husband's the old man.
How old is he?
He turns 44 this year.
I would have not put him at 44.
Yeah.
I thought he was closer to our age.
He's 5 years older than me. I turned 39 this year, so he turns 44.
Yeah. And Roger's sisters, who are twins, their birthday is Thursday, and they're turning 38, I believe.
Oh, so they're younger. For some reason, I thought they were the same age as me. I mean, kind of. They're a year younger.
They're only within a year, yeah. I think they're turning 30. I know they're not 40 yet. And his older sister will be 43 in December. Or 44, I don't remember. And then him, and then the other two, yeah, they're about 4 or 5 years apart. Yeah. So they'd be 38, I think. Because he'll be 42, yeah.
That checks out.
So what about you?
I have had, the dumbest fucking week, okay? So, you know this story, because I posted it on Facebook, but,
Oh, yeah.
So, it had to have been Friday night, because it wasn't last night. So, Friday night, I go to bed at a decent hour. I wake up at around midnight to this car alarm that keeps fucking going off. And, by keeps going off, I mean it goes off and then it stops and then it goes off again and then it stops and then it goes off again. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding? So I look out my window and there's 5 people around this car, literally, that's right in front of my house. And I'm like, they're either breaking into this car or they're drunk as shit, right? They keep doing it. And finally I get pissed. I'm like, you know what? I'm calling the cops because this is ridiculous. Because again, they're either breaking into this car or they're drunk. I don't know whatever happened. I never saw cops down my street, but for all I know, they did come down the street and they just didn't have their lights on. I don't know.
It's possible. They probably didn't put their lights on just because it is, in the middle of the night and they don't want to wake up the whole neighborhood.
Yeah.
More so
I was
going to
say,
already.
we were already fucking awake.
Yeah.
And for all I know, it could have gone off several times before I woke up because I'm a deep sleeper. And the fact that I was awake tells you something. So either I wasn't as asleep as I thought I was, or that thing went off several times before I even woke up. But oh my God, I got so annoyed. Or you just were
in a certain cycle of sleep that just allowed you to wake up,
Yeah. Either way, I know that personally it went off 4 or 5 times while I was awake that I know of.
That sucks.
Yeah. And then I couldn't go back to sleep until 4 in the morning. It was horrible. And then I went back to, sleep and woke up at 10:15. So kind of like you, sleeping in but not sleeping in. And then today I ran to the corner store because my husband needed something, and while I was on my way back, I was like, I'm going to hit up Dutch Bros and get myself an energy drink because they have these flavored, it's like Red Bull, but it's not. It's called Rebel, Rebel.
Yeah.
And they have flavors to them. So I was on my way to get something there, and these kids, they're in the crosswalk. That's fine. But they decided to just dart out right in front of me while I have a green light. So, I mean, if you're going to fucking use the crosswalk, use it right.
Did you hit him?
No, thank God. But I rolled down my window and I said, crosswalks are for smart people or something like that. And I was like, that was fucking dumb because obviously they're not smart. Yeah. But I was like, nobody is going to care if you run out and cross a street if you look both ways and you don't have the right of way. Nobody's going to care. I don't fucking care. If you wanted to cross that street after I went by, that's fine. But pay attention, man.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you cross the street and then I hit you and then you fucking die, I go to jail for murder because you ran out in front of me.
Oh, yeah.
That's not fucking fair. Kids these days, man.
I know. Reminds me yesterday. Roger and I went to go to dinner, and he was like, "Are you okay? You seem annoyed." And I was like, "I am." I was like, "I don't know what it is, but like somebody." Oh, he was telling me about his day. He was working, and somebody was pissed off about something and was being an asshole, whatever. And I was just like, I don't know why, but like I said, I've been in a funk all weekend. And for some reason, hearing the story just kind of like rubbed me the wrong way. And he was like, did I upset you? And I go, no, I'm just tired of all these motherfucking entitled people going around acting like assholes because they think that they're better than them, blah, 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 blah. And my husband's like, well, honey, if somebody's paying this much for this and blah, I was like, I don't fucking care if you're a millionaire or if you're fucking poor. Everybody's the same. I don't think that somebody who has more money or less money or whatever should be treated any fucking differently. I'm sorry. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the yelling. I'm tired of everybody coming down. And then, because like this person comes down and complains, and my husband was like, well, I'm really sorry, sir, blah, blah, blah. Well, what can I do to help you? And he's like, well, I own a business. I just wanted you to know. Okay, so you came down and caused a motherfucking scene in front of everybody over something that, first of all, had already been taken care of, but you wanted to create a bigger problem. And then second, you want to create a scene over something just so that you can, well, I own a business. So I just think you would want to know. No, you came down because you were hoping he was going to offer you something for free. Stop being a fucking dick. Don't sit there and pretend like you're just trying to do somebody a fucking service when really all that happened, what is that his granddaughter stubbed her toe and so it started to bleed a little bit. So they put a Band-Aid on it and then, like the whatever people there. And then he comes complaining later, well, this just ruins our whole stay because now when her foot goes in the pool, the chlorine bothers her toe.
Well, maybe she should have been watching where she was fucking going.
Well, first of all, okay, fine. But like, she's a child. She's going to get like scratches and bumps and bruises. It does not make it my husband's fault, nor is it my husband's responsibility to sit there and make you feel like because your granddaughter accidentally stubbed her toe and like my husband saw it and he was like, she stubbed her toe and you could tell it was like a little itty bitty scratch, but it was bleeding. And of course she's like 5 or 6. So, and it wasn't bleeding like profusely, but it was just a little bit of blood, but at 5 or 6, it's the end of the world.
Of course.
So
absolutely.
They put a Band-Aid on her toe or whatever. And like, what? I mean, it wasn't anything major. Like really, she didn't even need a Band-Aid, but whatever. Well, this just ruins our whole trip. And I just thought you'd want to know. No. Stop lying to yourself and everybody else that you're causing a scene in front of. You didn't just want to tell them. Because if you did, you would have done it in a polite way that wasn't a fucking scene in front of everybody. Second of all, you're just sitting there and trying to act like you're doing them a service when really all you want them to do for you is to make you like bend over backwards so they can take it up the ass from you. Like it just I was just not, I don't know what it was, Amy, but he told me this story and I was like, fucking people. Like I understand that you paid a lot to do whatever it is that you're doing or whatever. And that does kind of suck, but that's life.
Yeah.
I mean, I had plans last weekend and I got fucking food poisoning. I didn't go sit there and bitch to the person whose food I ate because you ruined the rest of my weekend. No, that's just fucking life. That shit happens. Deal with it and get the fuck over it. Like, oh my God.
So the sad part is this is not something new. Like, this is where humanity has been headed for a while.
That's what I told my husband. I said, I have lost all faith in humanity.
Right?
Because if this is the shit that you are getting upset about, and this is the shit that you think is actually worth getting worked up over, no wonder why you have anxiety. No wonder why you're fucking depressed. Because you allow little shit that is just normal everyday life to get under your skin that much. Like, and here I am bitching about, every little bit of things. But like, Christ almighty, like, yeah, it sucked that I got food poisoning last weekend. Yeah, it sucked that I probably know what I ate and where it came from. But I'm not going to go sit here and cause a scene. That is just the risk you take when you leave your house.
Yeah. Do you
I'm
remember
sorry.
It's been about 30 years now. The woman who sued McDonald's for hot coffee.
Because it spilled in her lap and it burned her. And because it didn't say hot on the outside of the cup.
I'm sorry.
She didn't know it was hot.
Okay, but I'm sorry. It says hot on the outside of the cup. Who the fuck is reading that? So whether it says hot coffee or not, you should know that if you order hot coffee, it's going to be fucking hot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it wasn't hot, then you'd be pissed and then be like, my coffee wasn't hot like I said it was supposed to be. You can't have it fucking both ways.
Or do you remember growing up? So like we were very, very lucky where we grew up, where we lived near a lot of Native American reservations. And so illegal fireworks were easily accessible at all times.
Absolutely.
Because obviously the Native reservations
they were legal on reservations.
Yeah, absolutely legal on the reservations. And clearly during the 4th of July, there's a lot of cops that will like to sit right across off the line or whatever. But do you remember how now in Washington, you can't buy those snake ground fireworks anymore unless you're on the reservation, because some mom wasn't watching her child and her 2 or 3-year-old like ate the charcoal and then died. So she sued the company, and now you can't buy it unless it's on an Indian reservation. Sorry, Native American reservation, because she wasn't like, you were not watching your child.
I'm sorry. Those are not inherently dangerous.
No, like because she ate it and died.
So, like, I always thought if it goes up or blows up, those were the rules. If it goes up or blows up, it's not allowed in city limits. So if it goes up in the air or if it blows up.
I don't know what Washington's laws are. Honestly, I was too young at the time. I just know that we could get whatever we wanted right down the road, so it wasn't a big deal. But
I didn't remember
I remember
that.
Because
I remember when we had the snakes, and I was like, those were some of my favorites.
We did. It was up until after we left, or after I moved.
Okay.
So it's been within the last, I think, like 20 years.
Okay.
So after we were young and did it, because that was one of my favorites too, was the snakes. And then we always used to play with the charcoal and like ride on the streets and everything. So like it's been recently, as in the last 20 years. It's sad that that's fucking recent, but since we've been too old to really have lived there and purchased these.
Well, listen, like, it's not something that's something that you don't play with as an adult, so.
Correct.
It's not.
But I remember being there one time going, oh, we should buy it. I remember these and blah, blah, blah. And like, now you can't because of that.
So
and I just was like, I get it. I mean, it's very tragic that your child ate something, and I understand that as a parent, you legitimately cannot keep your eyes on your child 100% of the time. So like, I get that. I understand that you can turn your back and within 2 seconds, something can happen. However, that does not make it the company's fault.
Exactly.
That something happened. It is tragic. It sucks. And it sucks that in that 2 seconds you turned around, your child was able to get into that and that something happened. But it is not the company's responsibility to be a parent to your child.
Yeah.
And it's a firework. So anything that you ingest is going to be lethal.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fucked up. I didn't even know that.
Right?
Man, that makes me fucking sad now.
Mm-hmm. I always just remember bottle rockets being illegal.
Really? Because that's the one thing that I remember finding so fucking easy.
Oh, well, yeah, you could find it easy. That wasn't the problem. It's just they were illegal. I mean, there was no firework that you weren't allowed to light off that wasn't easy to find. I mean...
I'm telling you, by that
saying
rule,
we were on a lot of Native American reservations, like I'm talking like
you could go in any direction.
In any direction within an hour probably of where you lived, in any direction. Some were much closer than others, but within an hour in any direction, and you would land in a Native American reservation at some point and were able to purchase these things. Yeah. So it wasn't difficult to find them. It just wasn't legal.
That's fair.
Off of the reservation.
That's fair. Because I do remember, like, as an adult, well, just barely as an adult, I want to say, like, somewhere between 18 and 20, we went to the reservation in Auburn. And
is that when you and Chris lit off that damn M80 in the parking lot?
No.
Oh.
No. That was before I was 18, ma'am.
You just sat there and said 16, 17.
No, I said between 18 and 20.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm not
sure.
Were
you there that night that the M80 was lit off in the parking lot?
I remember hearing about it and you being so fucking pissed.
Well, yeah, I'll tell my story in a minute.
Go for it, because I only remember part of it now, and now I don't remember, and I want.
It was right after I had graduated high school, and so I had moved in with Chris because Chris worked nights. and I mostly worked days. So even though it was like a 1-bedroom, it worked
Mm-hmm.
because he was only home, during the day when I was generally at work or vice versa. So it just worked that way. Well, during the summer, because it was obviously during the summer, it was right after I graduated. It was like 2 or 3 in the morning, and we did not live in the best of areas. I mean, it was a decent apartment, but it was certainly not anywhere that I would call safe or anywhere that I would want my children to live. And it was like 2 or 3 in the morning, and then all of a sudden you hear this big boom, and like I didn't know if it was a gunshot. Like I woke up out of a dead sleep, sitting straight up, going, "Oh my God, what was that? What was that?" Nobody knows what it is. And then all of a sudden you hear all of these feet running up the stairs and like shh, and they're all piling into the like. All of a sudden, here come all these people piling into the apartment at like 2:30 in the morning, and Chris is there, and it's all of his friends. He had the night off, and they had lit off a fucking M80 in the parking lot
that
at 2 or 3 in the morning.
I feel like I know exactly which 2 friends were definitely there. At least one.
Which one?
Jay.
I don't remember if he was there.
What about C?
Yes.
Actually, I have talked to him, and he said he's totally fine with telling stories about him. So, yeah, that was definitely Kale.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, there was a lot of other people there, too. I want to say, well, there was a lot of other people there. There were some girls and guys. That is the only one that I remember, though, because, yeah, it just, like, stuck out with me. Jay was probably there, too. But I don't remember at this point because I was just so angry. And I started to be like, what the fuck? And he was like, shh. They didn't want anybody to know. First of all, it's M80, so it's illegal.
Yeah.
Second of all, it was lit off in the middle of the night in an area where gunshots weren't abnormal.
Yeah.
It set off a bajillion car alarms because, of course, it shook the building. And there's maybe 5 or 6 people out in the parking lot once this happens trying to figure out, like, what the hell was that? Like, because, of course, it's in the middle of the night. Most people just wake up to the sound and you're like, was that a gunshot? And we also lived right across the highway from the Air Force Base. So, like,
Air
did we
Force,
just get
Army,
bombed?
Air Force, Army, and Marine Base.
Well, at the time, it was just the Air Force.
No.
Now it is joint. But
well, Camp Murray's over there, too.
Well, yeah, but at the time, McCord was just McCord Air Force Base. Now it's Joint Base Lewis McCord. So they,
which, by the way, did you know that is one of the top 5 largest bases in the U.S.?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it doesn't seem that big when you live there.
Well, yeah, but when airline freighters are flying right over the interstate and landing, it's got to be very big. And then you keep in mind that, like, just south of that, you've got, Fort Lewis and Camp Murray and, like, all their training grounds. So by the time you look at just the Air Force Base itself and the landing strip, it's a lot of fucking land.
Well, that's true. That's true. I remember.
Because I just remember being on I-5 and those planes just flying right over. And you're like, how did those not just fall out of the sky?
So
they're huge.
I remember going on that side street that's right up against the
yes,
and like there were a couple times where I'm like, dude, their landing gear is gonna fucking hit me. Like they were that low.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just we didn't know, like, did we just get bombed? Blah blah blah. Keep in mind that this was before 9/11, so anything was possible. And so
it was the summer
just
right before 9/11.
It was right before. It was in June.
Oh shit.
So September was 9/11 was just a couple months later. So it was and not to say that we like grew up with fear in any sense of the word, but I think that we all in that area grew up well aware of the fact that we had an Air Force base, the Army, the Naval base, the submarine base up north. Like, I mean, we're talking Whidbey, Bremerton, Camp Murray, McCord Air Force Base. Like, we're talking.
Did you know that in Bremerton, there's like 3 bases in Bremerton?
Yeah.
Not
Isn't
just
that
the
crazy?
submarine base, but
I only know about that because I was living in Port Orchard when 9/11 happened. And there was a lot of officers that were off base that night or that morning that lived in that basic area that were all sent straight back and not allowed off the ships for quite some time because they never knew if they were going to get deployed.
I only know about that because when I was right before we moved down here to California, I was working for a moving company, and they specialized in military moves.
Oh, yeah.
And I constantly had to know which base people were on. And there were times where I'm like, wait, I didn't know Whidbey, the Whidbey Naval Base, has 2 or 3 bases within that.
I didn't know about Whidbey, but I knew about Bremerton.
Yeah, I learned that pretty quick.
Yeah. So, like, we never grew up with fear, but I think we just always grew up knowing that we were easily accessible and there was a lot of good targets, military-wise speaking. So, like I said, I was never fearful, but it's not like if you heard that noise in the middle of the fucking night, you don't know what's going on, that wouldn't be a thought in your head.
Yeah, exactly.
And so,
yeah.
and then Chris came over this last summer with my kids for the 4th of July, just the 3 of them. And my house was still not burnt down by the time I came home, but that's not to say I wasn't a little nervous.
I think Chris is graduated and learned.
No, he's not. Are you fucking kidding me? He would set off an M80 in my driveway with my kids any day of the week. Nothing would stop him.
Okay, but I think he knows how to prevent your house from getting on fire. That's all I'm saying.
Well, yeah, but I'm not saying he would have lit it on fire. I'm saying he probably would have created a huge firestorm of angry neighbors that would have lit my house on fire.
Gotcha. Fair enough.
Because I live in a very, very uppity neighborhood. Unfortunately, we are not uppity. We just happen to get a house right before COVID, so we got a really good fucking deal. And I live near a whole bunch of old stuffy people, and so if he'd probably give them all heart attacks, and they'd probably all die in the middle of the night from it, because that's how old they're.
That checks out.
Yeah. So
I got to tell you a quick little thing that I did to Chris when he was living in that apartment.
Oh, I know what you're gonna say.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
So the night before,
because it wasn't just recently, as in like the last 5 or 10 years, has the whole origin of the story come out, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So the night before,
because our brother was still very, very, very scared about this situation for many, many years until recently.
Yes. So Chris had an apartment. Like Ginny said, he worked nights, and at this time, it was just him that was living there. The night before,
it was still during the school year.
Yeah. No. It was.
I think it was like April or May.
No, because it was literally the night before I turned 16.
Oh, so it was in the middle of the summer.
Yeah. Yeah. So for some reason, I was grounded for something. But
when were you not?
That's fair. And I was not that bad of a kid.
No, that's just all Grandma knew how to do to discipline you.
Yeah. So, but even though I was grounded, since the following day was my 16th birthday, she let me go out with a couple friends, and I told her we were going to like Sherry's or Denny's or whatever for pie. We were going for pie.
Well, we actually did do that though back in the day.
We went there. We didn't go there for pie. We went there to hang out. Well,
yeah. But to eat while you were there, we always got like an appetizer and a dessert.
Yeah. No, anytime I would ever say that I wanted to do something and I wasn't really doing that, I would always say that we were going to Sherry's or Denny's and going for pie. I don't know how Grandma never figured that one out.
Especially Sherry's. They had great pie.
They did. And I think that's why we used that. But yeah. Anyway, so two of my friends and I go over to Chris's house. And I forgot that he was working or something. And it was in the evening. It was like 6, 7. Had to have been like 7 o'clock. And his apartment was locked. And someone helped us climb onto the back patio to climb through, to open the door, because he was on the 2nd floor. And I went in there, and then from there, I let my 2 friends in, and I don't want to say trashed it, because we didn't throw stuff around. We literally,
you did weird shit.
Yes, we did. We took full cans of Mountain Dew, put them in the bathtub, did random stuff like that. And then
something was on the toilet.
Yes, we put a note on the toilet that said, "We were here, we'll be back."
But it was a whole bunch of weird stuff. It was like
totally random.
it was like a pan was sitting on his bed, and like
yes,
there, like you said, there was 2 Mountain Dews in the sink, and then there was like something, or in the
and
tub,
they were
and then
full.
there was like
They
yeah,
weren't,
and there
it's
was like
not like we
something on his
drank them.
TV, but it was like really, really like I don't even know that there wasn't something on his bed. It was like you said, it was like 2 cans of Mountain Dew in the, like, very weird, but like maybe you could explain that away. Like maybe like I set that on the edge of the tub for a second and they fell and they land. You know what I mean? Like it took him a couple of hours when he got home of seeing different things.
Before he called the cops. And before he called the cops, I don't know if he called you to ask you if you
did.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He called me, and the first thing out of his mouth was, "Did you come over to my house last night?" And I was like, "Gee, thanks for telling me happy birthday. Thanks for that being the first thing out of your mouth." And he's like, "Well, happy birthday, but did you come into my house last night?" Like like you said, he was freaked the fuck out.
Yeah.
And then eventually when he went through his friends that he thought it might be, and they all said no, and I said no, he called the cops. And I remember that, and I was like, I can't tell him now. I can't tell him.
Yeah.
And then I want to say it was about, like you said, 5 to 10 years ago, I finally told him, yeah, that was me. And he's like, I fucking knew it.
But not only did he say I fucking knew it, but like there was like this 20-year thing sitting on his shoulder about being creeped out.
Yes.
So like the moment he found out it was you, it was like you could just see this relief of, oh my God, like, you know, like he not to this day, but to that day was still so caught up in who it could have been, and would tell the story all the time about, oh, dude, I had this creepy thing happen to me, and like nobody knows, and like it was a story for a hot minute.
Oh my God.
I wish I remember everything you did besides
I
the
wish I
Mountain Dew
did too.
cans. We'll have to have Chris like pop in and remind us of all the things that he found.
Yeah. So Chris,
I think it took him a couple of hours.
At this point, cut in some audio if you could and tell us what all I did, because legit, I cannot remember anything other than the Mountain Dew in the bathtub.
Well, most of those details are correct. When I came home, I knew something was wrong immediately. When I stuck the key in the door and turned it to unlock it, it opened freely. So I knew somebody had been in my house because the door was locked, or I had thought I did anyway. When I opened the door, I could see straight into the bathroom. I could see some cans in the bathtub. The soda was opened and either drank or poured out, but the beer was not touched. The TV was turned on its side. It was one of those tube TVs, so you could just pick it up and rock it over. Dirty clothes were all over the floor, and I think there was clean clothes that had been taken out of the dresser or the closet or whatever. So I didn't know what was clean or what was dirty, so I had to redo all my laundry. I don't remember a whole lot now. It's been, 20 years now. But I knew in the note that is correct. It said, "We were here, we'll be back." When I saw the note, I called my boss and was like, "Yo, dude, I ain't coming in tonight. I'm about to post up in here. I'm about to whoop some ass." Because I was expecting somebody to come back. Well, they never came back, like, ever. A few years later, I don't remember how many years later, it was a few years later, I overhear Amy talking to somebody out on the balcony of a house party we were at, and or an apartment party. And I could hear her telling this story. So I popped my head out the window, like around the corner from the balcony, and was like, "Yo, you said what?" And I finally got the whole story. It was quite freaky. And the reason why you girls think that the time frame is a lot longer, because it didn't go 20 years. I've known for a long time that it was Amy, and I knew of one other person, but I didn't know there was 2 others. I'd like to know who those were. Not that I would do anything about it now. I mean, it's fun and games now. But the way I tell the story now, it makes it feel like a decade or two went by without me knowing, but it was only just a couple years.
I just remember there being like a couple of different things. And like I said, nothing that was like majorly out of place, but just enough that it was like, that's not right. But there wasn't anything, like you said, it wasn't trashed. It wasn't scary. It wasn't like, malicious or anything. It was just weird. And like,
and the note on the toilet is what I think freaked him out the most.
Yeah, I think he saw a couple of the other things first and was like, well, that's just weird. And then like and then he saw the note, was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Because I remember it saying, we were here, we'll be back.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry, uncle or brother Chris. I was not a part of that.
I remember it was a friend of mine who had a slight crush on him. And that's why she was totally okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I don't think I've ever been a part of a prank that involves Chris. I don't think I have.
Well, that's too bad.
I know.
I
don't think I've been involved with a prank with you either. Like me to you or upon you. I'm 99% sure we've done shit together, but I don't remember that either.
I mean, like, the only thing I can think of is, I mean, it wasn't a prank, but like confusing me about the whole Backstreet Boys concert.
Well, yeah, but that wasn't really a prank. That's
what I'm saying. Like,
I'm a crappy sister. I haven't pranked my brother and sister.
I feel like I've only ever pranked him. I don't feel like I've ever pranked you.
No. That's odd. And I haven't pranked either one of you. Because
I feel like he's pranked both of us.
How?
I don't know, but I feel like there's no way he hasn't, knowing who he is.
Now I'm thinking, like, has he?
We might have to do a separate episode on pranks after we think about it.
Even just on Friends. Like, I got a couple with my kids, too, that are fun, so.
Oh, jeez.
That can be next week. How's that?
Yeah, that works. That works.
Yes.
That's cool.
What video did I send you?
I don't know. Like, you were scaring
but
like, you sat in the dark for, like, you said almost 20 minutes waiting.
Well, because, so we'll have to tell the story next week, because,
Yeah.
One, it's a long story, and two, I don't want to take away from next week. So here's your build up for next week, guys. My child thinks he's fucking smart.
I like how you put thinks in there.
Because pranking your mother is probably the last thing you should do.
I mean, you did it.
Especially with the mother. No way. Well, yeah, I guess. I was about to defend myself, but there's no defending.
Yeah, there's not. There's not. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Just going to take that loss.
Well, tune in for next week then, everyone. In the meantime, if you have any information for us, any insight, any questions, comments, whatever, email us.
Or if you just have a plain bitch.
Yeah. I'm down with that.
Not like have a bitch, but like have something to bitch about.
Well, I mean, if you have a bitch, you might have something to bitch about.
True.
I mean, because I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one.
Same. Actually, no, I take that back. I got a dog. So one is, yeah.
No. Like, they're neither one of my dogs are my problem. So
that's true.
Okay,
so that's sign off. Sorry.
Yeah. Email us, ginnyandamypodcast@gmail.com. That's GINNYANDAMY podcast@gmail.com.
You can also reach us on Instagram at Bitching Siblings Podcast. That is it for tonight. Next week, you'll see us. We'll hear us again.
Bye.
Bye.